Erwin just asked me a question, and so I'd like to start off by answering it with the following. In the time of the British Mandate in Israel, the British would allow Jews to come into Israel if they came from certain countries. And there was, just like in the United States, there was a quota apparently for people coming from different countries, and once the quota was used up from that country, they could not any longer come in, while another country may have had a number of people left in their quota. So for example, in pre-World War I, there were someone of German origin, there were so many allocated visas which would be allowed for Germans, but for Polish and Russian there were fewer. And there were more Poles and Russians looking to come into the United States, and there were fewer Germans. So the Polish and the Russian numbers were used up very quickly. The German numbers remained unused, but they would not assign them, the United States would not assign them these numbers to Polish and Russian Jews, and if they weren't used by Germans, it has nothing to do with may have been instituted because of Jews, but nothing in the law said anything about Jews. It only had to do with country of origin, and therefore that if it happened that there were German permission to come in, Russians and Poles could not get it. So what happened was that someone asked Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld, who was the head of the Haredi Bezdin in Yerushalayim, and asked him, said, I come from Romania, all the Romanian permission to come in is gone. I want to say that I am from Germany. And he said, no, you can't do that, you're not allowed to lie. Can't do it. Later, somebody came to him and asked a question and said, I can stay in Israel if I say that I'm born in Yerushalayim, but I was born in Europe, so can I say that? He said, yes, you can say you were born in Yerushalayim. So they asked him, I said, you said that the person could not say that he was German because it's lying, so how could the person say this? So he quoted a pasuk in the prophet which says that Ish Ish Asher Yulad Bo. Ish Ish, a person who was born there, is considered, let's call it an Israeli, if we'll use those terms. So the Gemara says, why does it say Ish Ish twice, a man? It says Echad Hanolad Bo, both someone who was born there, Echad HaMitzapeh L'Shuaso, and someone who looks forward to its redemption. Both can be considered someone born in Yerushalayim. And therefore, even if I wasn't physically born in Yerushalayim, if I am Mitzapeh L'Shuaso, look forward to its redemption, I can claim and say that I'm born in Yerushalayim because of my attachment to Yerushalayim. So now coming back to the question, what happened with the Supreme Court today? What the Supreme Court today ruled is that the city of Yerushalayim will not be designated on American passports as Israel. And therefore, when it says place of birth, let's say I know someone very well who was born in Austria, so on her passport it says place of birth. I think it only says Austria, I don't think it says the city. And when someone is born in Jerusalem and they want to get an American passport, so the American passport says born in Jerusalem, it doesn't say what country. Why? The Supreme Court ruled it was a 6-3 decision that it is only the President of the United States who can make treaties with countries or make declaration of countries, and it's not Congress. That's not within the realm of Congress to do. And therefore, this has not been, Jerusalem is not part of Israel because the final settlement has not been made since 1948. Now, you should just know that through all the years, there was an embassy in Tel Aviv, and there was an embassy in Jerusalem. The embassy in Jerusalem is in so-called East Jerusalem, in the so-called Arab center over there. And it was always lots of fun to go there. We went to renew our American passports at one time, so we went there. It was lots of fun going there. But the State Department has always had not the most positive relationship with the Jews or with Israel. or with this declaration of Jerusalem as being part of Israel. So that's bottom line, in answer to the question.
I still don't understand it. So if you're an American,
A person, it's called in law, it's called jus sanguis and jus terrii, I think it is. That is, a person is an American citizen by matter of birth or by matter of land. That is, a person, if they are born, the first one, sanguis is blood. In other words, a person can be an American citizen, not be born in the United States, if they're the child of American parents. And therefore, let's say a child born in Israel of American parents who carry an American passport, that child is an American by birth. And they get a passport which identifies them as an American. Our daughter was born in Canada. She has an American passport because we were American citizens. So even though she was born outside the country because of jus sanguis, because of the law of blood, she is an American citizen by birth. If one is born in the embassy of the United States in any country in the world, likewise, they will also be an American citizen by the land of the embassy itself is considered part of the United States. So there are many, many children in Israel, many people in Israel who were born of American parents in Israel who want to have an American passport. So their American passport, which would list their place of birth, would say only born in Jerusalem, not born in Israel. That has been the policy, and the policy has been upheld by the Supreme Court.
so if you're born in Tel Aviv, it says you're born in Jerusalem?
No. That it will say that you're born in Israel.
So every place but Jerusalem,
Every place but Jerusalem.
you're born in Israel, so Jerusalem. So they just left it standing. They left the
Previous operating
that it's always been that way.
in that way. It's always been that way.
And these
Yes,
people,
but there's a congressional law that
So-
the president can waive at his discretion.
Right.
There is a law on the books.
Yes. However,
no
it
president has
it
waived
is
it,
the
No, they do waive it.
but nobody waived it.
no. They on
No.
this issue they have not.
They've
No,
never
they,
waived
no,
it.
they waive it in the sense that it's declared the capital unless the president says it's not. He can waive what Congress said because Congress wants it to be the capital.
Right.
So that's what they passed, but they gave the out to the president. You can say, no, not this year. In effect, every year you have to reaffirm it, that it's not, for whatever reason. But there was a law on the books.
So the person who brought the suit is Aryeh Zivotofsky. Aryeh Zivotofsky is a professor, I believe, of economics at Bar Ilan. He's a fascinating person. He has written a number of articles in the OU magazine, which comes once a month, once 2 months. He, together with someone else, organized the exotic kosher meals. And every few years, there are animals which are kosher, which we don't eat. They're not available. The deer is kosher. There's certain pheasants that are kosher. There are quails that are kosher. There are locusts which are kosher. There are grasshoppers which are kosher. There are many things which are kosher which we don't happen to want to eat or find ourselves interested in eating, but they are kosher. So at this kosher meal, exotic meal, which happens every couple of years, they have these foods available. So he is one of the people involved in that. He came in, he substituted once in school, now if I remember correctly, he came in with a giraffe foot to class because he wanted to show that the giraffe has a split hoof.
And choose its cut.
Hmm?
And choose its cut.
Choose its cut. Well, he didn't bring in the innards to show the choose its cut. He just brought in the
Well,
hoof.
half the equation.
He was substituting for someone that day and came in with a very fascinating person. He has another person who is similar to him, who is a dentist, and the two of them together discovered or rediscovered or identified the chilazon, which is a type of shellfish from which the blue dye from the tzitzis comes. In the paragraph that we say about tzitzis, it says, Hakanaf Basil Techeles, on the corner, a string of blue. So that color, that blue, was lost. We didn't know what it was. About 100 years ago, someone said it was this particular thing. It turned out that that was octopus blood that was used to dye something. And these two, this doctor, I believe his name is Greenberg, and Dr. Zivotofsky, went scuba diving, found things, and got this dye. And you can see that when you put it's exactly the way the Gemara describes it. It is a yellowish color, and when you dip it, when the wool goes into it, it turns into blue. Anyway,
Thank you.
that was, okay. So therefore, we should hope for Yerushalayim. Rabbi Hanania ben Agag